Say your way. Say your way. I'm gonna go. Some of what I'm gonna you. You see, Mambo, say Mambo, Mambo, say Mambo, Mambo, say Mambo, Mambo, so on your way out. Cano, I block. Whenever I come up away there, you never pay there. I don't give you, never pay there. My little get you from where you spend my deal. What are you there? Papa, this is a young man. Tell him Mamma to tell him Mamma to yeah, I bet you from what you come to the girl. Jazzy Bell, Mamma, Minigado, nobody. Shall we sell from where you shall be your body? So he's a my way, my way, my way. So Gizaki.
Fiber Queen off of Woodland. Everyone that's looking for a nice African for wedding, whatever fiber you need, you can just come over here. You have all this nice stuff. If you need a Chevy, you guys can come over here for baby shower, for wedding. You guys are welcome. She have really nice stuff. You can see all over there, all those men over here. You don't have to go to the theater and then they're going to be telling you all kind of stories. You can just come here. They're already made. And for ladies, you can just look for whatever fiber you're looking for and match it for the men. And, your husband already have a shirt made. You can get stuff for your kids. You can get stuff for the whole family. We have African slippers and Ashobi hair ties all over. We have different kinds of lists and everything. So you guys are welcome, okay? It's really nice. It's Fiber Queen on 6695 off of Woodland. 6625 Woodland Avenue, okay? So you guys are welcome, 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 welcome. You have nice stuff here for ladies, for men, for kids, and for everybody.
Ladies and gentlemen, your attention please. Fabric Queen of Philadelphia. Fabric Queen of Philadelphia is 100% African-owned business. At Fabric Queen, we are specialized in high-quality wax product, Swiss lace, jewelry, and beauty products that will make you shine like the queen of fabrics. We are located at 6625 on Woodland Avenue, 10 Philadelphia. Telephone number 215-800-0228. Tell the management of Fabrics Queens in Philadelphia is easy and salt of the Liberia Public Radio gives you this message. Tell all Akwaba. Okay, good evening, good evening, folks. We want to welcome all of you this evening. What a beautiful Monday evening yet. That's the executive mansion there. The executive mansion that is being scrummed over by politicians in Liberia in a bid to occupy state power, which is also good. What we want to welcome you this evening, I'm Alfonso Zienso, as usual, to right here. Thank you so much for sharing your evenings, your mornings, and afternoon hour, depending on your location, wherever we are. We want to thank you so much for your time. We value. I don't know how many times I'm going to say it, but for you, to our followers, those are passing through. By the way, this is your first time. This is the Liberia Public Radio, LPR. We are here. We've been here. We'll say the audience. Our competition is all about quality, bringing the professions, making it to perfect into reality, having genuine conversations, giving fair and balanced analysis. Everything might not be 100% correct, but we'll try to follow the ethical rule of the profession to the extent that our analysts, our contributors, we put them in check when it becomes necessary, when ridiculous things are said. It is important that we have genuine conversations about our country. And no one should have that easy pass, be it someone that sits behind the microphone. That should not give you the leverage to throw anything out there, information that are not verified, that do not have a source. And for it to be a good information, at least you must have three sources that you must be quoting. There must be facts, not opinions, but if you want to opine on it, and then it must have an attachment of being the facts, to have some facts on it. And that is our argument all along, and that will be our argument as long as we have the opportunity to sit here, because too much is at stake. And people, the ordinary people, count on us, those who sit behind the microphone, to be honest and not be too political, because there is a hidden agenda. There is something that we want to put against. So we restructure information to suit our taste or to appeal to certain people. And it is dangerous to any society, any country, not to mention to Liberia. So why are people doing this? What is all behind this? The dishonesty is not just only within the politicians, or we ordinary Liberians and ordinary citizens. But there are so many reasons involved. which I don't think it is that much significant. But all that is important here for us to expose these ills and these deadly things in society. And it was my talking point. We want to expand it because we've been struggling to have this conversation. Yes, media entertainment is a segment of media. Of course, you cannot do without entertainment because you have to get people attracted. But when it comes to our country, when it comes to the future of the country, we must draw that fine line. And one of the things that is hurting the country, and not just only the country, even in the West here, is this subliminal messages. I will say this over and over subliminal messages. This is what killing us, and this is what is harming us. They are not real messages. They profess to be. It is another high skill or high marketing, and it is also applied in the media. Subliminal messages. It's also applied in the media. The social media use it, people in the media world use it, and it is dangerous, very dangerous. It's been detailed as far back in this country here to one Nile Higgins started it. And part of that, where the politicians is and the time you see it most often surface is in the marketing war as well. But the media has become successful to join and be a perfect driver of subliminal messages, which are fake news, false news, no source. You cannot quote anybody. They profess to be good. The messenger, there's a message in those subliminal messages, and the intent of that messenger is to tweak your mind without you knowing that indeed it's not even something that is existing. It's been to restructure. It's applied in the marketing, like I said. You know the McDonald brand, you know the Dunkin' Donut brand, but there are other sellers that will come and try to do a copy of McDonald or Dunkin' Donut. And so they're going to grab the logo or emblems or whatever way you would call it, profess as if, and what they are trying to project there is this is as equal as that. So if you don't even get Dunkin', don't worry, it's okay. You will be fine. You will be okay. And they will tell you literally, this is we are better. In fact, this has been existing before Dunkin' Donut. That's how dangerous subliminal messages are. And politicians have become direct beneficiaries of these subliminal messages by spreading falsehood, fake news, information that cannot be authenticated. Walter, he's here this evening. News is something that is concurrent, that is moving simultaneously, and we have to find a time to show it. And we want to point out some of these falsehood. It doesn't matter who is the messenger of the subliminal messages in the world of politics, politicians, advocates. How many times advocates they have not that? What next week you want to see this one here? And when time comes, they backtrack. If this one not happening, call me this. Those are subliminal messages. They present something that is not real, that is not realistic. They throw it out to you and say, don't worry, be okay. Well, he's here tonight. He is, I believe, in his African safari. The liberal progressive of this network. We're going to have a critical to review analysis of this ridiculous tape. I don't know who is the author. What's the terminology? They have specific stuff people use to design these things. They throw it out there. But let me just bring in the liberal because it seems that he's losing patience here. Let me get his side here. The most liberal on this network, Samson Blocko Brown Toe / Liberty Partisans, USA, not Liberia, but he providing financial support to Liberty Partisans in the Republic of Liberia. The Liberal Progressive, good evening.
Good evening, Mr. Soul. Thank you very much for having us again. It's a wonderful, wonderful evening. And I believe we're going to be doing real well here tonight.
Am I going to be doing well or you? Who's doing well?
Mr. Soul, we are going to be doing well.
No, you and I, you know, there are a lot of things that we don't agree on. So I'm not sure why I should be inclusive of things that you're going to be doing. But let's see how you're going to. Okay, today is what, Monday?
Yes.
Okay, so let's see here. It's first working day of the week. You did any inspection and any breach or highway today in Sacramento? Your country needs you. You're here moving, inspecting breaches, making road, carrying on survey, and all of this stuff here. What you did today?
Well, we want to work as usual, and we have other young engineers on our wings that will try to um, not so much of educate, but impart on them of what um, real world design is all about. You can use the book analysis of everything else, but the real world sometimes they're a little bit different. So I try to tell them you can draw a beautiful, beautiful building, or a beautiful, beautiful roadways and what have you. And the lines are all connected, because on the drawing board you are surely making sure that all these lines are connected. But when you take them out to construction, the contours of the road might not be what it was when it did survey 4 or 5 years ago, even 3 years ago, even a year ago, or even 6 months ago. Because the contour of the earth continue to change. The wind's blowing, it's raining, it's moving rock, moving earth, and all the kinds. So those are kinds of stuff that I try to impact on the young engineers, and we'll continue to do well because people keep making reference to us and asking us to be on their project from time to time, based on the experience with the time of work we're put in here.
Mr. Totan, man. My son, you heard me.
Well, you know, one of these days, when I'm going to violate the rule of the organization that I work for. One of these days, we're going to be having a meeting, and I will call you so you can listen in to the meeting. I'm not too sure, because
No. You see.
I just want you to listen in. I'm your brother.
Look,
Besides doing it, Mr. So the liberal is on the floor. Besides doing this thing here, I'm also your brother. And I want you to listen to somebody. Mr. So I said,
let me stop you
in
right.
fact, I'm not even going to tell you when I'm doing it. I'm not going to tell you before you look. I put you on the line. And the reason here, it has nothing to do. What are you agree with me? You know your disagreement with me doesn't bother me a bit. It doesn't. I'm the liberal, the most liberal. So your disagreement with me doesn't bother me a bit. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to put you on the line and just tell you, say, listen.
And guess what? When you put me on the line, I bring in the guy you call Minnesota politician. I'm going to connect him. I'm going to connect the ANC analyst. Mr. Nairobi will soon be joining
I
us.
changed my mind. I don't think I want to go that far. So if you bring those young people on, then I think I will change my mind on that.
Okay, gentlemen, the link is out there to you guys. Once you have the time, you come on. Okay, Lebrot, here we are. Today is Monday. A lot is going on within our society, but as usual, let me see here. We always like to keep the news proportional. We gotta be our brother's keeper. So we gotta know our surrounding. We must know what is happening next door, next neighbor. It shouldn't just be about Liberia. The war is involving, and so there is some sort of a connection. We all rely on one another, directly or indirectly. So let's see here what is happening in some of news on the international front as well, according to France 24 and other major news outlet. Human Rights Council warned more atrocity crimes in Ethiopia. Senegal president appoints the first PM, that's the prime minister, since they abolished the post in 2019. Now he has appointed a new prime minister. Morocco, Nigeria agree on project to pipe gas to West Africa and Europe. Can you imagine? Gas, West Africa and Europe. Plenty of money involved, Amazon. So I wonder what we're going to be doing in Liberia. Well, better days ahead. Okay, those are major news that captured our attentions, and we thought some of you know, to share those information with you as well as we always try to do it. But this is what is filtering within the news cycle, and this seems not to go away. And it looked like, let me see. Oh, something to make this thing disappear. My goodness. Okay, it's here. The man from Total can't just do that. Okay, according to front page, Amid condemnations over to the doctor's reportage of President Weir's involvement with terrorist group and other surfaces leveling allegations at Cummings fake video war. Fake video war. This is not going to go away. We don't know who is the author. We don't know how the accusation. Now, hope and hope. Yesterday, we were to play host the vice chair for international affairs, who happens to be the senator expiring as well for most of our country, but the system was bad. But this is ultimately, this is my conclusion, conclusion, I will say, because that thing is a nonsense. It doesn't make no sense. People who did it, they did a poor work. They should seek consultation. They should seek consultancy in public relations or propaganda if they are to wage effective propaganda. What that is just a complete subliminal and fake news with no source there. But what I want us to do in the interest of fairness, Lpr, let's play that crazy thing that they throw out at us. And I'm pissed because they align with my county and my country. We can be used as a scapegoat for politicians and advocates and whoever is the creator of this. That's nonsense. They want to use people to be like a springboard, and those days are gone. Everybody eyes open wide. But there are some people who out there, I've been hearing this speaking, we're not stupid. No, there are some people out there so stupid because they allow, they receive and accept, and they share things that they have no idea. Anything that you share coming from another person, it means you have validated that information and you admit your human standard. How can you share something like that? Did you share that too, Liberal?
No, these things are but way below my integrity.
Let's talk go fair true, considering your age. Old people don't lie.
This young. I'm not old. I'm young. I'm only 42 years old. I don't lie.
Okay, you don't lie. All right. So this is what I want us to do. I want us to play it. It's all around. People see it. And then possibly we can see whether we can break it into pieces or whatever, because there's a blame game. Allegations have been leveled.
But I'm wondering though. There seems to be another response to this video already out there. Do you have that other clip? And if you don't have that, then I don't think you would do us. You would do it us a favor.
Wait, now, hold on. There are a lot of responses behind. You talking about from Tiawan's, his sections on it, or what?
No, they're specifically responding to this video that you're about ready to play.
Well, okay, this is the origins of this. So, you can't. There are other hundreds of people here looking here. Don't kind of impose your liberal way here,
Mr. So I'm just saying to you, the video that you're about to play. Similar video, non-Liberians were perhaps hired and giving information, just like this one that you're about to play.
Well, so, yeah, but even this one,
that's fine. That's fine. Go ahead.
Information gathered. Okay, if we don't even play the other one, we can break it into segments. We can do this and say and do that, and we can compare and contrast. Let's not overburn it, overload ourselves here. People here, they want to get something here. So I want us to play this, to go to this here, because it is the one that created a chaotic situation we find ourselves in. So it is important that we give you a detailed conversation in our own understanding. And as usual, we always receive comments, tweets online. Also, you can also tweet, and we will put your comments here. But this is what happened. Let me see here. Hopefully something. Okay, let's see this here.
Very dangerous plot by George Weah to win the next election
by rigging it in order to remain in power, and he'll do it by any means necessary. With less than 600 soldiers in the entire National Army, Weah has raised a secret and very dangerous militia, filled with the worst criminals recruited from Boko Haram and Al-Qaeda. These mercenaries are fully armed and ready to destroy Weah's opposition. They've been well funded with the new missing money. Billions were printed and stolen over the last couple of years. This includes the 8 billions printed earlier this year in 2022 alone. This terrorist group is made up of foreigners from Jamaica, Burkina Faso, Middle East, and Nigeria. Locally, they've also recruited and trained 18 rebels from former warlord Taylor through Monrovia's city mayor, Jefferson Kugi. Unfortunately for the Grand Gideons, their county is being used as a training base without their citizens' knowledge. At the time of this report, there have been many sightings and ongoing pleas for help, but the government has refused to help.
Okay, this is the mess that was created by some unknown people. I don't know the authenticity. Those folks, their identity have not been established. But here is it. Deliberate. Do you want to go first, or I should go?
What's before that? Let me read something to you.
Say it again.
I'd like to read something here very quickly.
Where is it coming from? Do you mind to tell us?
Well, it's coming from one of the sons of Grand Jida.
Okay.
So let me first of all go ahead. You can go ahead. We don't need to hold the people up.
Okay, let's bring in our man.
Okay. All right. I got it.
Let me bring in Jonathan here. In the meantime, you can go ahead. Yeah.
Yes, I got it. First of all, this video, and we're gonna dissect the video here to the nth degree here tonight. There's no question asked. But the point about this video, what he has done, and what most people, perhaps Liberians, don't recognize. If you put one Grand Gideon in a box, whether that Grand Gideon is a troublemaker in Grand Gideon County or not, and his life is threatened, all Grand Gideons are going to come to the aid of this. And just ask Madame Salive when she put those Grand Gideons in jail, how much the Grand Gideon Diaspora Organization, how much money people put together here for people, for Jonathan Gay Jewett to go over there and on his own and even go and see. So if you try to do that, you unite Grand Gideon to the way that perhaps you yourself will not recognize, because we never like to be threatened. While we will defend ourselves, we're also going to be truthful. We are not monolithic. In other words, we don't come in with one club. Every one of us has our own brain. But when you threaten the existence of our brothers and sisters, you will hear from us. So let me read this here. And this coming from the former president of Grand Gideon Association, Honorable Timothy Collins. He said, Grand Gideon will not be used as political pawn to disrupt the peace and stability in Liberia. We are calling on all Grand Gideons at home and abroad not to dignify the video in circulation capture important warrant to Liberia, which alleged the international community uncovered a dangerous plot by President George Weah to win next year's election by rigging it in order to remain in power. We Grand Gideon, he says, like most Liberians, know the reality of war and unnecessary conflict as we have experienced the hardship, suffering, and bitterness of the Liberian Civil War, which lasted over 14 years, during which Grand Gideons were among those that were hardest hate. The death, destruction, untold suffering, and unwarranted disunity between the people of Nima County and Grand Gideon caused by the war is still vivid in our minds, he said. These publications were similar strategies employed by those who benefited from the war that drove slavery propaganda, putting head together, which led to the demise of so many of our people today. Let us be known that mentioning name and putting pictures of the county official in a divisive fake news intended to put our county official and the public at odds will not work, he says. We want to make it categorically clear that the divide and rule mechanism used by unscrupulous element in the past to achieve their selfish desire, which plunged Liberia into a senseless war, will not work this time around. Granadians and all other peace-loving Liberians must protect and defend the peace and stability currently existing in the country. As a former leader of Granadian community in Americas, I am calling on all peace-loving Liberians to condemn this fake publication, which has the potential to of derailing the peace that everyone enjoy in the country. Now, the reason I'm reading this, he wrote this about 2 days or so ago. But the reason I'm reading this, it just amplify what many Granadians are feeling. And I can tell you this, many of us don't agree with the county officials. There's no question when we are at odds with them. But when it comes to the livelihood of Granadians, there is no daylight between me and Zopeno. There is no daylight between me and Kai Fale. We're all in this to protect each other, because that is the only country and the only county we have. And if you want to play a stupid politics and you're going to leave Monrovia and want to bring it to Granada, bring it on. Bring it on. You guys know who we are. We're not here to be afraid. We will be straight. We will be firm, but we will not be used for your political gain. Not anymore. No more.
All right. Okay, that's the Liberal there. All right. Hey, Jonathan, good evening. Welcome.
Yes, good evening, Mr. So, and good evening, Mr. To.
Thank you.
I don't know. I'm trying to seek a court order. This guy, this To Sawyer is some sort of settlement for he to change that name completely to find different name. There's other name that he can use. Can we work out something? Can you do that?
What name you want to change?
You.
What kind of name you want to change?
He said so close.
I want to change your last name because people are mistaken always. I don't agree with your ideas. I don't
well, you can change it. You can change it.
All right, I'm gonna find one.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Please find something suitable.
Yeah, it's the deal. I'm gonna go little beyond the borderline. This whole thing is ridiculous. It is absurd, and I'm gonna take on a holistic approach with respect to Liberian. I mean, the entire country. Look. And this is how politics has diminished so much and devalued the basic principles of democracy in modern civilized society. Yeah, to do this sort of thing, and people, whether it's coming from the government, it's coming from the opposition's advocate, or whoever is the author or creator of this sort of artificial to make up with at this sort of consequential time when we should be having these politicians, the incumbents, and those who are looking for state power to be asking them tough questions, and out of no reasons, somebody just throw this thing in the middle of these important conversations to create this sort of distraction. Itself, it is ridiculous and it must be condemned. But I think they see the backlash of it. It doesn't make sense. They do it for us to lose sight, to lose focus on things that we should be talking about. For those of us in the media, we'll play that tape. Most of you have seen it. But we're going to break it down. Some of the things that just doesn't look real. And I said that it's part of the work of these subliminal messages. People are very, very much they are using. And for those of you who would not understand, who don't know the work of these things that we call subliminal messages, is dangerous. Very dangerous. They are not real news. They are fake news. You cannot quote a source. You cannot say this is the network. But let me bring in Jonathan yet. I'm quite sure he wants to add his side, and we're going to go deeper here because I think his guy finger has been pointing. There's some sort of blame games here, and we are concerned, and that's what I really wanted to host the vice chair. Normally, traditionally, he used to have a counter reaction to address when the president speaks, good or bad. He always gave his on the side. I'm not sure what I'm hearing. He's supposed to be speaking. So what this sort of one little bit delayed, we're going to know. But Jonathan, when you saw this here, what was your initial reaction? This tip.
Thank you, Mr. Mr. Soul, and like you said, it is unwanted, it is irresponsible, it is unthinkable. But what is quite interesting to me is that you are a media guru, and you know definitely when you have communication from someone, you want to know the link, you want to know which institution they represent, and because you want to have a follow up, you want if you respond, how your response will be handled. But when I saw the video and I could not see direct link, and in fact, what I saw as an individual speaking seems to be, robotic, you know, it seems to be that someone is talking, not actually the person who is talking, or a machine. It is just unthinkable that Liberians, wheresoever it came from, that it will want to move on such a path, a dangerous path, given where we came from. I mean, I can use all of the condemnation against it because it's not helpful to our country, to our democracy, especially calling names of people, calling county name, and what have you. It is irresponsible totally, and we should not introduce such ugly value within our politics. It's just unthinkable. I don't know why, but again, I'm not very surprised because when elections are around, people try to do everything humanly possible in order to position themselves. I'm having mixed reaction, as a matter of fact. Just before I leave the conversation, I'm having mixed reaction. I'm having reaction that at one end it is believed or it is assumed that it is a major opposition because they don't like the government. I'm having another sort of reaction that it is from the ruling establishment, apologists of the ruling establishment, who are trying to tweak this thing since opposition are most likely holding them responsible, since their character always come on the line for human rights. So they're trying to fix this thing so that it appear like opposition are just dangerous group of people, and they're trying to undermine every good thing that the government is doing. But by and large, it is a wrong attitude. It does not help our democracy. It does not help even those who have an agenda to do it, be it wherever you come from. And
Okay.
so it's not needed to be encouraged. So as one person, I was not in the business of sharing something that has absolutely no basis, zero basis.
All right. Okay. Thank you so much. Let's welcome our senior contributor, analyst, scholar on this network. Mr. Sister Goya is based in Minnesota. Sister, good evening. Welcome.
Thank you, Mr. So I appreciate it.
Yeah. Man, what the energy? Why energy? Is that a liberal intimidating you? The energy looks so low this evening, or what?
No. After celebrating the birthday yesterday and then today and then all
Oh
their video
boy,
clips of
that's
stuff.
the after. I understand. That's the aftermath.
After,
Okay.
yeah,
Well,
yeah.
yeah, the body is said, man. All of these things we do, there's a time for social recreations and, have some little nice and quality time. I hope everything is okay. Well, let's come back to things that you love and things that we love doing, giving back to the community in different forms and shape. Look, you had a chance, this crazy video that came out 2 days ago, you had a chance to listen to it, you saw it?
Yeah. I mean, it's hard. It's very hard to miss that video. Everybody has been sharing it and it's been
Did
everywhere. But
you share as well?
no. Look, when I first saw that, like my brother Jonathan, I had a mixed feeling, but my mixed feeling was not about who released it. It was about, do we even elevate this to have conversation about it? Is it really even that? Does it cross the threshold of importance? And also, well, what would be the consequence if we ignore it? So that's where I was kind of split. And I think it's necessary that we discuss it, that we have the conversation about it, because there are things in there that that video did that I find very despicable, that I find very nasty and distasteful. You see, when they talk about rigging the elections, yeah, Prince Johnson, I talked about that, right? That was for me. It didn't even concern me. What concerned me was when they tried to dig back into that tribal politics between cousins, Dodis, the Grangerians, and the Nibalians. I think that was so nasty. I think that was so below the pale. I think whoever did that, there's a special place in hell for that person or for those group of people because you do not. I mean, so we should, you know how many of our brothers and sisters and mothers and fathers lost their lives because people play on people's minds like this. Traditionally, I don't have to educate you. You're from Grand Nigeria. My brother here is from Nimba. I don't have to educate you on the traditional relationship that Nimba County and Grand Nigeria has that existed way before the coup, and that existed even after the coup until people came in with dark hands and tried to split cousins apart. And I see this as the making of that same thing. Whether it came from the opposition, whether it came from the ruling establishment, it is nasty, it is despicable. But for the fact that they try to pit families against families, as in the Nibalians and the Grangidians, knowing our recent history, but for that, I would have said we don't have to discuss it. But this is very bad, and I think it deserves the discussion we're having. And I think almost every respectable Liberian has condemned that. And this is just below the pale.
Yeah, I mean, Sissy, I can't explain anything. All of you guys just put it into context, and out of the awkward things involved in this video. But it is important. That's what we in the media world we can blindfold these things here because people needs to be informed. People need to be tutored to be aware of all of these things. And I saw it flying, man, like 747J coming from some people that really never had a thought that they were going to do that, and without validating it because they were in different world, they pictured themselves, they secluded themselves. Oh, this is coming, and the name George Weah is mentioned, so he coming to the United Nations, so it will resonate. And that's the work we were talking about, subliminal messages, because they play on your mind what things that happens and things that occur or things that people say in reality. They will incite those things into their making and give you a good pictorial for which you can easily draw a conclusion to say yes. They just play on your mind, and I think we just want to talk about it for our stakeholders and for our people to know. But yeah, it's beyond that now. Mr. Jonathan, you are a supporter of the Alternative National Congress of Mr. Alexander Comey. What is coming from front page here is concerning. You know, now finger is being pointed, which of course the blame game is always there. Finger is being pointing at the creations of this fake video here. Fake video. You're seeing the more or less coming here, coming again from fingering to fake video. But what is interesting, gentlemen, usually when these things happen, all of these big giants in news outlet, they run with it, they are up, they make it an argument. But this one, a lot of everybody like they just kind of took a break. Because first of all, the whole thing, any little child, somebody with shoulder on their hair, you will see it. Who was this guy like Janitor was doing? Who was this guy that was reporting? You know, which network does he work for? Who is the reporter that went to Grange there? There were some words deployed by this so-called anchor. Unfortunately, you have to look at the connotations of word people use. Why? Grange is part of Liberia. So if I were reporting that, I would say as XYZ from Grange. Unfortunately, okay, he is bringing back memories what Mr. Toll was saying. the picture in communication, the visual aspect to resonate. But they were so dull, they were so stupid. They weren't using the picture of George. We have another picture you see apparently at the time. Maybe you're playing for AC Milan when he was how you call it, say, in a football field. Anybody who understands communication, that picture is a defeat the purpose of what they were doing. It brings in the past. If you are trying to target him, you want to bring in something of him in the present. So they didn't do no job at all. Nothing. But it was just all stereotyping and all sort of funny thing. We don't know the angle. They didn't tell us who the reporter, so that just only one person went and reported this thing here. Somebody did this thing to cause us harm in the political discourse that we should be having. Is to focus on the thing here. But let me bring in Jonathan here. Jonathan, seeing what is being reported here, allegation to be reported, we don't know yet that we are hearing. Mr. Comey is going to be addressing this here. What is happening within the ANC corridor, as far as you can tell us, and why the ANC and Alexander Cummings is noted, and which is a good thing because we see it here. Usually, it's after the incumbent president, Democrat speak, you have some sort of response coming from by the opposition, we happens to be the Republicans. They will debunk or they will have their own versions of the president speak. But this one here, it happens. He should have mounted the podium. That did not happen. We are hearing they are scrambling. Allegation now is being leveled against him. 2 days ago, Prince Johnson ripped him off unspooned way. These are all constraints of this person. What is lacking here? Who is not filling in the gap?
Thank you so very kindly. Firstly, I know for a fact that at least for Senator Johnson's statement, I know that the CPP will ably respond to it, and they will forcefully respond to it too. As equal as this subliminal message that have been reported that members of the re-establishment are holding Mr. Cummings responsible for. Mr. Cummings was somewhere around Marshall for a graduation in a few days, and he was speaking and said that it is unfortunate that nearly everything he seems to be held responsible for it. And 1 or 2 years ago, he also said the same thing, that to change any situation of a country, it is not, even your own life, it's not good holding people responsible for it. Like I said initially, this subliminal message is irresponsible, it's irrational, it set into motion a division of a one better past that have been healed to a larger extent, and the character who took on this to do is quite evil indeed. And from our opposition perspective, we got so much in store to talk about, to help government strengthen itself, and we get past from it, then get involved into some subliminal message, very irresponsible, that would tend to change to undercut our democracy. But again, with all fingers, they're pointing from the ruling establishment angle that Mr. Cummings have been lobbying overseas, against the government of the country. One can understand the motivating reason why, he's been accused, or allegedly accused by some actors. I think that we don't deserve such a accusation, or he doesn't deserve such an accusation. Most of what he wants to say or want to do, he do it openly. If he wants to accuse the government of something, he does it openly. There is no restriction on him for which he should find another angle to address the problem of our country, or to even lie or to create lie against the country. I mean, for all fairness, Alex Cummings' position throughout the Liberian political history, at least for the short time he had been in it, he had not been someone with an attribute of lying or creating story or just blaming people for just everything.
Okay.
There are point in time that finally there are point in time that he told us to be calm with the government, 2018. There are point in time that he has suggested to the government. There are point in time that he has said we should assist the government. There are point in time he has said that we should allow the government feet to get wet. And there are point in time that he uprightly came and had an outburst against government irresponsible act. So you can only do that if you are circumvented or you are stopped or you don't have a means of airing your view. So
okay, I will reconstruct the question here and get it to both CICIT and the Liberals. Let's keep it succinct so that maybe we can tap into other things here. But here, how I'm going to reconstruct this question. Let me just bring in the guy from Minnesota, near Franklin there. So, Cici, let me ask you, why is it, or is it both the GOL and the opposition within the opposition see or view the ANC as the main challenger? And second portion to that, why is it always this guy, if he doesn't temper a document, if he doesn't alter a document, he's now the makeup of his so-called video? Who is doing what here, and what is the reason? Is he seemed to be a main challenger ahead of 23 with the incumbent, the president? Why not Joseph Boyka? Why didn't call your guy Tiawon Gonglo? Why Arizona Cummings?
Well, I would say that Tiawon is the main opposition here to 2023 to the government. But the government knows that with a character like Tiawon, he just can't run around throwing stuff and hope it sticks to the wall. So it's very difficult. So they're picking who their target will be, because like you rightfully said, when the people that Honorable Cummings are partner with came back to prosecute him for quote unquote fingering documents, it creates that pattern where people can say, well, then we can stick this next thing on him, we can attach this next thing to him, we can make him look like he's the other because God has blessed him to serve, to be out of the country and serve in corporate America, so we can demonize him. But you can't demonize Tiawon as being an elite, right? The man's broke and poor, with all due respect, just like you. So you can't come and say, oh, the man's an elite. You see where you can't go to Joseph Boyka and say Joseph Boyka is an elite. The only thing you say, well, 12 years, he's serving the government. So everybody seems to, with this government and the ruling party, everybody has their own niche. There are certain things they will have that have to stick on you because, squandering state resources to run the Joseph Boyka. Because everything as social, moral, I hate to even, validate this nonsense about Cummings being gay. But when it comes to sexuality, they run to Cummings, right? And then, so the only thing they will say, oh, they're always talking about the truth, but they're not talking about anything substantial. So I think, sadly for the ANC, is this perception has been created, good, bad, or indifferent, whether it's right or wrong, that Cummings is an elite, and the people who back him are elitists, and so Fagon started this thing a long time back when he said the Congo people were coming back to take their country from the country people, the nation from the country people, and so Cummings was the Congo man coming back to take it from the native people, and so when these kind of videos come out, when those underlying despicable comments have been made by people who we had in government, I've laid that out already. Then it's easy to just build on it. And I think that's what they're doing the comments. But here's one thing I have to say real fast, and I know you said we should be succinct. I really don't believe, I really refuse to believe that with the amount of intellectual people in the CDC, that the CDC would stoop this low to some stupid video that a kid in one of my ninth grade digital art classes can do better than. I really refuse to believe that the ANC, with all of this money, and Arizona Cummings having access to smart people, will come up with something stupid. I don't believe any opposition made this a strategy. I don't believe the ruling establishment made this a strategy. I do believe, and without evidence, but just looking at the video and how poor it is done, that's some idiots just started in their basement created this nonsense, and threw it out on Facebook, and here we are, having this discussion. I really don't believe, because any political party that used this as a tool is telling me that they are yearning for the days when Liberians were killing each other. And that political party, who does not deserve to exist in Liberia, that political leader ought to be ashamed of themselves. And like I said earlier, I'm not going to miss my word, that political leader has a special place in hell. There's 7 levels of hell Dante talk about. That person belongs in the worst part of hell, because this is really bad. But I don't believe the political party or the ruling establishment or all the money they got that they could hire, a really good media specialist to do something better, came up with this nonsense. And again, we don't insult on this side, so I apologize. But
those are nonsense. Those are genuine words that we can put out there.
This really made me feel horrible. And again, like I say, I hate to believe that, because I know the smart people that are with Cummings, I know the smart people that are with George Weah. I really don't believe any political organization in Liberia actually put this out as a strategy. I think it's just some fool sitting somewhere that has some data, has some free time, so that put this nonsense together.
Put this nonsense together. I'm going to be coming to Liberia, but I'm going to do an elimination process with some of the words that I use or question I asked to Jennington, and that I say we are a free thinker here. So let me come to the Liberal, who is more or less moderate and look at it in a different form and different shape. He always tries to define us here, but let's see how he plays out here. So Liberal, there are 2 possible scenarios coming into place here. I can think always outside of the box. We've been seeing from time to time, Mr. Cummings and his guy that he was working with together in their collaboration, some sort of name identity being attached. He's not. He's a stranger. He's not like one of you. He has not been there. Where was he when we were we? Those kind of words. But the context they were deployed. 2. Is it possible that someone somewhere, either from the oppositions or from the GOL, say, hey, the tension is too much. We need to stabilize this whole conversation here and pave our way to the United Nations conference. And subliminal messages, it comes from both within and out. Only people who think ahead of the game to say, hey, we need to quiet down this thing here. And this is what we can do when we throw this thing here. Say Jenningtons, the Liberal Progressive, Alfonso, they will grab their bait and everybody will go with it. Now, their supporter, they not know. You don't see consultation when you're doing those kind of things here. Only people in the highest up. Which of these scenarios you think factor in? You as a laborer here, let's see here your balance fair here. They didn't call your man Joseph Boyka. They call the guy who you want to go on Joseph Boyka. So I'm not sure with all of these kind of things, you still want him to go on Joseph Boyka in your world. Let's hear from you.
Thank you, Mr. So. For me, this is a waste of time here tonight discussing this foolish video. But again, we're here as the Liberian, first of all, and then this is what has been discussed in our community. And so all the main thing that I want to get people to get out of this from me is that don't bring your foolishness to Grand Jide, because we will soak you. Simple as that. We will soak you. We're not people to play around. I mean, you can't just say because Grand Gideons have given their vote to George Weah from whatever time, now you want to wrap it around us. Too bad. What the least employee of this government from Grand Jide. You go count Grand Jideans that are working in this government. You can't even hold 2 hands up. So, but yes, still our people continue to support. Right now it's raining. The road situation in Grand Jide is so bad, people cannot move. But yes, still we support. And then the first thing is, without them thinking all of these things, they say, oh, that crumple, they like, oh, yeah, go there. But here's what I'm going to do with this here. Having said all of this, this is what I'm going to do. Who benefit out of this thing here? That's how I look at the whole thing here. Now, before I go there, let me give you some qualification on this here, the tune that I'm going to be taking now. And that is, first of all, I truly believe that none of the serious political actors in this, whatever opposition or even imposition or even the ruling party, none of the top 2 or so are aware of what is happening here. Now, who is this first video here? Who is he benefit? Who is this video going to benefit? I believe that this thing came out from the opposition. I mean, from the ruling party. This thing here, without the knowledge of, I would say, and I could be wrong, but without the knowledge of the top insider. Why am I saying this? If you look as a political junkie, I look at and also as a liberal, I look at it from a broad perspective. Within the last 2-3 weeks, ANC has been on top. ANC has been the talk of the town. In fact, I spoke with somebody today. That person has always been, Mr. Kumi, if he just listen to us, he can help us out. But he's not listening. And the first thing the person said to me, I think they want to help out. They feel scared. Kumi, I think Kumi is doing well. But here's the thing here. Kumi has, what's his name? Louis Brown endorsement. And it was over the roof. Before they left, they have Air Brussels. Excuse me. Air Brussels all wrapping around them. Things are going downhill. They are unable to manage. Before they left, okay, they had this ambassador fire, pretty much recall on false error. So all of those things, when you look at it, how do they garner sympathies now from Liberians as they come here? And also, how do they now becomes, what kind of, because you know the American ambassador in Liberia going to report here immediately that this is not true. So now in the eyes to those who produce this video, the Americans are going to be sympathizing with Dr. Weah, that perhaps there are people in Liberia who do not want to see success from this president, which is unfair and untrue. But here's another thing here. What they didn't realize, those who made this video, what they didn't realize is that Liberia are not stupid anymore. This is not 1989. And the interesting thing also is, as I've always stated here, those who produce this video, they are young, sophisticated. I keep saying this. If anything was to happen, bad thing happen in Liberia, the sophistication level of these young people will be the undoing of whatever it is that we're trying to build. Because not only are they sophisticated, but they can wrap things around very quickly. They're smart, intelligent, highly educated, and their mind can be devious so much so that they when they say I will do this for you, they don't even think twice. But what they didn't realize is that people are going to discard this video quickly. In fact, one of the interesting things in my county, the county official, many of them I don't agree with. There's a missing young man as we speak. That case is still there. We don't know what is happening. They don't come out and tell us. Immediately when the video came up, guy followed now put media people behind. You don't go in the place where they said, and they went there. Immediately, they were there. This is my first time seeing the county of Grand General official responding to whatever it is that they're responding to so fast, so fast. Kai Father was, and yes, Kai Father usually when he kind of thing happened, when Kolba and Cummings situation happened, Kai Father was in front, he was in front. But this one, he stood in the back and allowed people to narrate their story from one person. I think I counted about 3 or 4 before he came in. So I think this is very much unique. But just to show you again that these kinds of stuff, we can't play with them. Our brothers and sisters back home are not sophisticated as many of these other young people. You can't play with these things because you got people calling right now from Grand Jide all bent out of shape. We have to try to calm them down. Nothing happened yet. Don't worry about anything. And then they started bringing in one of the guys that I talked to from Total today. Y'all remember that there was a parliament chief that came to Dole, at my understanding, and told Dole the people were doing something in Nimakande, and they drove him out of Monrovia, at my understanding. So that person brought it up. He said, "You remember that parliament chief?" I said, "I don't remember that." And he told me about this story. But the overall, who benefit from this thing? And then, as usual, sedition. You getting sympathy from all over the world. What did they do? They went and produced their own. They put their foot in their mouth against as usual. They came and produced their own video. Now, if you listen to that video, then you say, well, these people are just a joke. Nobody will take any of these two videos serious. I thought if sedition would just be quiet instead of insulting and accusing, what Comey gonna get out of this? Look at Comey character. I mean, this is somebody from Coca-Cola. What exactly this video gonna give him? He traveled through Grand Jide. What is he gonna get out of it? Nothing, not a thing. And then that's why you do, Mr. So you're very good at that, Mr. So the other people spoke about 3-4 times. You didn't bring no pictures up. The Liberal is trying to
that was an electronic era. Why are you telling me?
Electronic era? Yeah. Electronic era will stay on air. I thought electronic era we should be off air.
No, not necessarily.
Subliminal message. Here we go. Subliminal message. Okay, I agree. I take that. But Mr. Soul, the Liberal is not going anywhere. You can try all your subliminal message or whatever. I'm not going anywhere. Lastly, what I want to say to these people, let them forget about this video. Let's see. The president is here, and if anybody out there, and let me be ridiculous again tonight. Bring it on. I'm here for it. You can give me whatever you want to do. Anything you want to do, fine. If anybody out there that are planning some sort of a demonstration, cool it off. This is not the time for them. You have the right to go and demonstrate. Whatever you want to do. But let's hear the president out. Let's see what he's going to get out of here. Please. Even if you don't support, if you are not a member of CDC, which I'm not, and somebody called me undercover already, but that's okay, which I'm not. But let us give this president the opportunity this time around, since he's going to go over there with his peers to meet with the president of United States and everybody else. Whatever. They don't frighten me. Okay. So I'm just saying, let us please, let's give the president a chance. Let him demonstrate for once what exactly he can do for us. I know time is almost over for him, but why can't we do that? We're all Liberians. And that's what I want to say on that.
Okay. Too much here. So the president is here. The Liberal is calling for other people to seize their civil liberties. By the way, we are hearing, I think, maybe 2 or 3 days. I'm not sure whether they're going to be a sort of interactions or engagement, because I did call the High Commission prior to the coming of the president like 2 weeks ago, and I was told that they were just going to have about 5 persons accredited, and potentially all of those people are going to be coming from Liberia. And my question was, what happens to the outlet, the news organs that are in this place here? Because actually the story will kind of will come from here. People have their own interpretation. So I look at well, if that's the case, because 4 or 5 years ago the first lady came and we covered the first lady. I was there at the United Nations place. So why this time that this such sort of a hook is on it? What will happen if we do not see any interactions with the cross sections of Liberians here, whether you're seditions, whether you agree or disagree? What can the president do to neutralize, to settle the dust, and maybe change the narrative as well? With people that agree with him, disagree with him, and say maybe do some sort of funny town hall meeting. Forget about whether your answers would be right or wrong, but have that sort of engagement. Sissy, will we see that happening? What would what the opposition would be looking for? I know he should have a second trip here in December, and apparently that would be the talking point. That would be the justification if anything doesn't happen at this time here. But what do you think in the minds of the opposition? Your guy, Tiawan Gongo, what is he watching for after the president returned home?
Well, the first thing is the UN General Assembly is now where the president is coming to address his citizens. You are coming to the United Nations General Assembly to address the Assembly on, on issues that you think the United Nations should work on and that will benefit you somewhat, but benefit the entire world, or somewhat you get some benefit. Like when the last time when you spoke about climate change and the need for investment in our forest and all the stuff. So I don't think this is where you come to lay out to make a speech about people coming together and reconciliation. This is not a place. If he tries to do that, it's going to be out of place. So what the president should have done was even before leaving Liberia on the termite, for example, at the RIP, you should have held. You know, you don't have to have a question and answer period. You can have a press briefing without taking questions. You just speak to your citizens in Liberia and in America. The president knows the history of diaspora Liberians, especially those that live in the United States. From Ellen Johnson coming to the UN General Assembly, there's always been a protest. So he can't tell me he's not aware that there's a protest. As a matter of fact, the CDC is paying people to take them, to bus them to DC to have a camera protest. To New York to have a camera protest as a way of welcoming the president. So he's aware of that. There's no way the CDC can tell me they're not aware of that. And so the president should have made a statement before leaving Liberia. And okay, he already left Liberia. He should have, maybe by now, his team should be working. I heard that the new ambassador that he just appointed to the United States is supposed to be taken over by Tuesday. That's what I'm hearing, without even a confirmation. So now this guy is here without a confirmation, is about to take over by Tuesday. And so have him organize a press conference with media sources, Liberian media sources, or even that with the Voice of America or anybody to speak directly to your people. But for us to believe that at the UN General Assembly, the speech of the president is going to be tailored to reconciliation or trying to talk to Liberians about how we all can come together and coalesce and stuff, or to talk about the experiences and the benefits and the things she's done for Liberia. This is not where you come to give that speech, not at the UN General Assembly. You make that speech either in Liberia or somewhere else. And the last thing about this statement, and I'll stop, I wrote in our chat here, is this is a moment for national unity. Remember when 9/11 happened in America, and Democrats and Republicans all came together, and they stood behind President George Bush to make a statement that this was an existential threat, an attack on America. I really hope that the president will take a lead, and opposition leaders will for once put Liberia, if they haven't done that, above everything else, and come together as one to have a press statement that all of these political actors, the president, Tiawan Gonglo, Ambassador Wakai, Mr. Cummins, even the PLP people, if they can bring their candidates, should all stand along with the president. And the president delivers a message condemning this and showing that Liberians, yes, we do disagree on the way forward and our political philosophy, but we hold one thing common. That one thing is that not one more Liberian life will be lost to senseless bloodletting and senseless civil war. I think the president has the chance to do that. He failed in trying to talk to the Liberian people before leaving Liberia. I think this is an opportunity for him to make that speech.
Okay, the Liberal.
Yes.
Let me ask this question here. Probably we're going to be over the top, and there are people, taxpayer paying, and it's just stressed out a good point here. Is it fair, or can we ask those who manage the affairs of the president's activities, his protocols, and all of these things here, communication, because lack of information creates apprehension, and this apprehension leads to these kind of funny news here, because if you are not coming forth with information, I guess game factor in. People make up things. They look at the world and say, oh, this is what's going on. And they're going to tie it to A, and that potentially resonates with the other people out there, and everything bursts into flame. The communication team. I remember a couple of, even maybe a year ago, that pronouncement was made that the White House, not White House, oh my goodness, the Executive Mansion or the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, they were going to restructure their communications with the office of the president. I'm not sure whether that's been adequate. And I've talked to some of the friends because, like Toby, we all schoolmates, classmates, graduated the same time. Not Toby, I mean, what's his name? The press secretary himself.
Kibe?
Toby, yeah. What's the guy? My brain are frozen like Rick Perry. I will call his name. The presidential press secretary, Solo Kebe, because he was here at Ajad convention just before this whole thing. I'm saying this to say that the protocol of the president, because when I call to find out, I'm saying I'm raising the, and I told the official at the council who was the press. So why you want to know? So I said, you don't know me? You accredited me before. We covered the first lady. We reported because people needs to know. How do you think that the public out there will know? What is so secret? I'm not asking you, say, how many security person come in, which plane breaking him, which plane. I'm just asking for the activities so that we can have this conversation, and nothing was really probably acting on instruction. What I'm asking, do you think, is it fair, those that are managing the activities of the president, are they doing it, or are they just being supervised as well, say, hey, this is how it's supposed to go? What I do know, that's not the traditional way, activities surrounding the president should be like. Samuel Dosey was not like that. I remember Patrick Coleman and all of those people, Gaswa, your mentor, and all of those folks. You will get some really detail. You don't have to struggle with this modern civilized society we are in with social media. It makes it much easier. Are they doing too well? Are they doing good to the president?
Well, Mr. So for them, they are. They think. But here's what I take out of this: they are not in need of finances right now. They don't want money for any campaigning. So they, as far as you are concerned here in the diaspora, they really don't need you. There's nothing you can do for them. Remember, these are the same people during the campaign used to come here and go from city to city, town hall. What kind of information you want, we'll give it to you. Now the president been here now going to almost 2-3 days. Why is it? Well, Liberians as well. And this is what I feel. And many of the people that are around the president used to live here. They used to live here and used to complain that when Ellen comes here, or Madam Ellen Salim comes here, she doesn't interact with Liberian community. These same people. Now they're over there. That's the interesting thing. But the point that I'm making here overall, Mr. So, is that they don't need anything from you. And they, as far as they're concerned, there's no reason for them to come and give you information. What are you going to do with the information? You remember Segu Kalasco said that immigration ice cream wasn't your blood. He said, now your business. So I'm just saying this on a very serious note. And because of that kinds of mentality or that kinds of mindset they have, we don't need them. Forgetting to know that when they come here and give us information, some of us still have relatives back home that we can have conversation. We're not going to say go for it, but we'll have conversation. And you still have Liberians back home who are still connected with Liberians here on the same level intellectually, and they have conversation as well. And these conversations, and through these conversations, they get to learn what the president is saying, what the president is doing. because over there for them to follow. Because what they want you to do is look on the executive mansion website. They do daily reporting on there. But what they perhaps don't realize is they know that because the internet services back home is not as good as they are here. But I really don't know why would they not go somewhere and the change that they were going to bring to us. These are some of the changes that we were hoping we were going to get. The president is a young man. The president is educated. The president can express himself. And those who are around the president, they know how to manage the news. Why is it that up to this time, there's no press conference? Number one. We're not interested to know what you're going to talk to at the UN. That's not the issue. But for Christ's sake, even though that's not our concern, that's not our business, but at least come and talk to us. Do Facebook if you don't mind doing press conference. Do Facebook press conference. And people will gravitate towards you. They want to hear from you. They want to hear from you. And these are the time, you don't wait until you go to church Sunday morning to preach on the pulpit and then say, now y'all want to listen to me. I will say what I want to say. It's not everybody go to church anyway. So listen to your sermon anyway. But this is another thing here that we Liberians, I really don't know, Mr. So I hope that they will learn, but at this time you can't teach an old dog new trick. So the train have left the station. So we're just hoping now that they don't run out of gas before they get to the learning point. But seriously, I think those who are in the game, I'm glad you as a conservative are taking the liberal view here tonight, recognizing that Mr. So, the liberal speaking, if you listen, you will know what I'm talking about. And you're taking the liberal view here tonight. And I'm proud to say that as a liberal, to be able to convince you as a conservative, to be able to take my view, which is these people that are around the president, which has always been my song, are failing him miserably. And I think your question is leading to that answer. And thank you for recognizing the liberal view. And like I said, my view are just a general view. They are liberal, but they are not harmful like conservative view. So come my way and continue to accept what I'm saying. I'm sorry, Mr. George is not here tonight. So perhaps he'll be upset with you that you're going to be leaving him in an island of your conservative ideas and not coming to the liberal way. I appreciate that, Mr. Soul.
We're just talking about subliminal messages, false information, and you're throwing.
Why is it false information when your question, the answer to your question?
Okay,
it's right there.
Janitor.
Real quick, let me make a point. Real quick.
30 seconds.
Yeah. Real quick. I know. I want to, Mr. Tool, he means well. He always dreams about what ought to be. And then, but when you're talking about the e-mansion website, about the president's activity, even news people like us that are hungry for news, we want to go find it. You go to e-mansion website and you click on, there's a tab that says President's Daily Activities. The most recent daily activity they posted on there was about a Thursday, March 1, 2018 event. When you click on the homepage and you look at the highlight, news and press releases, the last time they updated anything about the president was when he left for the General Assembly on the 16th. So even people that got internet want to go and still want to know something about the president, you go on the Executive Mansion website, they don't have anything updated there. So where then can we go to get those information? They're not coming to us. We go to the e-mansion website. There's nothing there.
I'm looking at it right here. I always put this major outlet. That's 20. The last update will highlight the president's daily activity. What, Thursday, March 1st, 2018? Yeah, that's it. Yeah, 2018. So where are you talking? So, Jonathan.
Yes.
Okay, so let's do it this way here. All these things we talk about, then you say the liberal, you have your side you're learning. Now I'm afraid we want to come right back and talk this thing because we have talked this thing over and over. Part of that, the opposition also, so fair to say, to even get access to your people, you got to go through 3, 4, 5 parties. They are selective where to go to say because supposedly you've been saying as an angot you not speaking their language, or you should share questions with them instead of having the subject matter. Or when you talk to them, they talk to their other surrogate. Oh, that player is not a friendly player. Maybe they want to destroy you. He's not one of them. That's how it grows. That's how it starts. So why should we say even after CDC, like they said, they get 12 years to go, whatever years, the electorate going to determine that. Why should we say that we Joseph Boyka presidency, Alice Cummings presidency, Tiawan Gonglo presidency, presidential team, press team, or protocol will be different from what we are saying now? Why should we believe that?
Thank you so kindly. Just before I answer, why should we believe? Given any of the characters you have named, press attaché or media expert going to be different. I was initially asking for 30 seconds very quickly.
Sure.
And I wanted to state that exactly or somewhat as was stated by Mr. Toole, that Ambassador Brian and McIntosh coming from the CDC created the stuff or negative perception. I mean, from the rural establishment strategies, created a negative perception somewhat for seditions to a larger extent blame Mr. Cummings. And it was reinforced by Prince Johnson, who came beating his war drum at the Grenadian or the Crown Ethnic Group for the 1989 uprising. And we from the ANC, we were able to respond to that war drum, and we will push Senator Johnson further because his statement on Spawn that Mr. Cummings made an exception and he repeated it more than once, that he confessed to being otherwise sex person at the National Debate Forum was a wicked lie, was diabolical, and it speaks to the exigency of his killing machinery. And that's how he killed people during the course of the war, lied on you and murdered you. And so we're going to speak to it fully because I was at that forum. I was the Deputy Secretary General for the Alternative National Congress for Media and Deputy Spokesperson of the party at that 2017 elections. There was no question of such nature. Senator Johnson was never in the hall of Pinsville. So it just demonstrates the reason why the Manisky placed a sanction on him. So let me leave that aspect because it will be dealt with proportionate. But let me go to the United Nations General Assembly, and the question asks me as to what will make, whether Mr. Cummings, Councillor Gonglo, and those who are seeking the presidency, their communication team different, but narrowing it specifically to Mr. Cummings. I know that I cannot speak for Councillor Gonglo, but the tenets of his lifestyle demonstrate clearly that if he should assume national leadership, he's a labor person, he's someone who holds conversation, and even if in the media sense, he has not been too responsive as we claim. But I know that when you come to leadership with the kind of attributes, you're going to be informing your public about what is happening because you already demonstrating that in your DNA. And to Mr. Cummings, as my political leader, I know there's absolutely no harm to communicate. I mean, as long as it is about the true intent of communication. Regret those leaders of the party who you may have been trying to reach out to in order to come and talk their story. I mean, free of charge. It is totally embarrassing for any leader to not seize the opportunity. I live in Nigeria, Port Harcourt. If we knew what would it cost, because in Liberia, media is cheap, and I appear on a radio in Port Harcourt, at least for 30 minutes. So if you know what it takes to appear on a national platform and the cost associated with it, you will definitely honor one when it is given you a free opportunity in order to market your idea. And so it is regrettable, but I know that Mr. Cummings will want to see the media as a friend, as a way of communicating the agenda of the country. Should he assume national leadership with all that he has in package to deliver to the people of Liberia, he will want to communicate those things so that it gave hope, number one, then it deliver, create the excitement. But very quickly to the United Nations General Assembly, which is very key on the agenda. It is a policy-making area for the organs of the United Nations. It is where discussions are held at different spectrum of multilateral issues that are covered for the sole purpose of the global world. And so I expect President Weah, I know that there was a package made. Last time he was there, he talked about global warming, global climate change and global warming. He spoke about why Liberia and other countries that are highly affected should benefit, which are very good. And those are moments of time that when you are going to such a forum, you use your departure time to communicate to your people based on the different narratives. You are going to narrate about global issues, but he gave them hope, addressing some of the issues that are in, and how you use the opportunity there to connect with people in order as a way of addressing some of the things like why being whom have not been addressed. I think if you have serious minded communicators, they will do that. But if you have a communication arm, you know, that are happy militant, like the casual and ordinary intellectual and political actors, definitely you have to have one of that. When you take on Mr. Cummings 2018 through Sam Mane, who was the press secretary, and used the entire website of the country that belongs to everybody as the executive mansion, and say condescending thing against Coca-Cola, not just Cummings, but against Coca-Cola, and demonstrate the low in-depth that we have in our country and we are faced with. So I'm not.
Let me intercept you here, because this has been some of our argument here, and most of you have already supported it. Now we have tons of reason now for us to argue in the media world, and you people as contributors and analysts. And is it possible that we begin to see a skeleton-like working team? These people, they have, some of them directly or indirectly, they say they are in it. They will be contesting. I have no idea who going to be their presidential press secretary. You don't see them as, you know, life is stage one, stage two, stage three. As you progress, moving up, you have to adapt certain things for people to say, yeah, this person is up to the task. By this time, we should know who is a spokesperson for all of these people, who must have a sort of guess game, who is speaking for the party. But they can turn, everybody wants to be in the eyes of the camera, multiple voices coming from all of these political parties, talk show hosts all become mouthpiece for the party or for the candidate. It is ridiculous. It is absurd. It's the same problem that we are talking. I don't want to see a presidential press secretary when the president is president is out there, United Nations, or attending to regional summit. You're doing live. I didn't see Patrick Comey. I never saw Gaswa, your mentor, even though there were no live streaming. But I will see them with their forethought, with their fire, taking note, recording, because the president could not remember everything. But you're taking down note, and that's how the briefing starts. State broadcasting, ERBC used to be the one to go there, but not take, I call 2-3 men because there are people when you're deputy press secretary to be doing live screen. The president as well, right? No, that's not your job. You're going out there to lay out the press code, and you there, you're plucking bodies, making sure that the president's rendezvous on a day or week, media people have access to it, and that just sells out for you. You don't need to do any other thing. Coordinate when there's any conference, any meeting outside of the official meeting, you just coordinate that. Let me ask you, and I'm going to start with the liberal. I think fear is already grabbing him. I don't know whether who is the official mouthpiece for Joseph Boyka, vice president for 12 years.
Mr. So, do we have to go
I'm not finished my question yet.
But why would we go that route anyway? What his
I
vice
said, let me start.
I
said, let me start with you. I'm going to come down to
yeah, but by you now coming up with 12 years and he been vice president, what that got to do with any of the question you have?
It's facts. We're talking about bringing facts. No,
let's see where you going with that. Let's see where you going. Okay, let's go ahead. Go ahead. Where you going with it?
Are you want to think? You want me to change the question?
No, go ahead. Ask your question.
Okay, I don't care how you talk. Sorry for where my question remains my question. So let me ask: will we begin to see all of these folks here for the good of Liberia? Because we all were caught in surprise. We will begin to see some real faces to give us that sense of feelings that when Ambassador Boyka is elected, maybe there's going to be the foreign minister, maybe there's going to be the finance minister, maybe there's going to be the presidential press secretary. Is it time now, or we should wait here, lay away?
Mr. So, first thing first, your monologue on the press of today, I believe you're missing a mark, because this is not 1950 something, this is 2022. The way things are done today, you Augustine Yamento or whatever, what's his name? This is Wilmot Stubberfee, all that, Mr. So.
This guy is ridiculous. Oh my goodness.
We passed that stage. So the young people of today are doing their press differently than what you and I used to. 1 o'clock in Monrovia, you got Wilmot Stubberfee. This is Wilmot. None of the people even remember who Wilmot Stubberfee is. So I'm just saying to you, when Dr. Bakai, listen again, I said when Dr. Bakai becomes the president of the Republic of Liberia, Mr. So, you will learn very quickly that perhaps his years of experience will now try to educate based on the years of experience. He will now try to disabuse many of you young people how and what the government's supposed to do for the people. Dr. Bakker understood. He has that thing packed already. However, he also recognized, here's another thing, when he was in Philadelphia, you saw how the interaction between him and George Lobo and what have you. There was some interesting moment where perhaps people were saying that George Lobo was talking for him, answering questions for him, whereas he was supposed to answer that. So, but this is what I'm saying, that he will allow people, the young
was caught on a half mic. A mic was hot when they talked.
Minnesota politician, we don't need. I tried to jump over here. You come bring out in there. Why are you doing this?
This is a dishonest that we are talking. That's a big
Mr. So I don't remember that. So I'm speaking. Why? I don't need any. No, one can do that. But anyhow, let me
wow.
You're killing you. Look, go ahead, take it away. I can't continue with this conversation because I'm trying to get you some facts here, and Minnesota politician and bringing in some stuff that I'm not. I don't remember. I'm just saying it. So, but anyhow, Dr. Bakai will allow people, the press, to come up with bright idea. Young people will get involved and do what they have to do. And that's how far I'm going to go right now.
I think,
that's what I keep saying. These young people, they are sophisticated, and not only their sophistication level is not good for us, but that's fine. That's fine.
Guys,
you pronounce John Lemonina, so the major.
But I noticed something else too, gentlemen. Usually, when the liberal is calling Dr. Boaga, he will say the next president. But this one, he say when. So a diminishing grade. A little his fit. I think his fit liberal.
Mr. So, yeah, I think your show is wonderful tonight. Let's continue with it. And why you brought in Dr. Boaga? This is not about him tonight anyway. Why are we talking about Dr. Boaga?
That's a complete surrender. Let me come to Sissy, who stirred up with this whole thing here. Look, on a serious note here, and the reason we are saying this here, I know time has involved digital. The world is more or less in a digital age, or we are in a digital age now. But hey, somebody got to be there to help the president. That's where some of the problem comes from. Because if you can't take good note record, how you expect the president? How can you have an effective briefing? You know. So, Cecil, let me just ask you here: do you think it is time for us to? It's time for these political parties. Look, and all of these things come with commitment, because the people, they are unstable. So these leaders too are okay. You know, the man here, he can't do this here. It's still soon, and we don't want to do things. Other people working this year. Look, we are talking about people who wants to run the affairs of the state. People who are going to be making decisions for us. People who are going to give instruction to the armed forces of Liberia when it comes good and bad. We are talking about people who their lives and security survival of the country will be based on the decisions that they will be making. How long, when should I see these people to for God's sake, to have people, to have specific people that you can channel specific things through? Or when there's an economic issue, we see it here, and people say we shouldn't compare. So how will we improve? That people will speak for these institutions on economic issues to provide data and not just speak off the cuff. And then when it comes, then damage control is already done. Don't you think it's time?
Well, yes, it is time. But here's my thing. I think the digital age has offered something great and very potentially very powerful to leaders. We can no longer go back and have the Victoria, Cooper, and everybody come and stand we reach and have that and have those press comments. Yeah, I had to go by the member much about his husband. So, but on a serious note,
Justina Gibson.
Justina Gibson. When the president travels, or when the president is doing something newsworthy, the executive mansion has a Facebook page. They do, because I've seen them before. The Liberia News Agency has a Facebook page. I think instead of Smith Toby or whoever the press secretary is being the one to be going live, they should be jotting their points, but allow Liberians who are not in the hall or who are not at the place to. That's how you get traffic routed to the executive mansion site. So people go there and follow the e-mansion live. We go to the e-mansion Facebook. Even we who are here talking heads will be even relaying there because that's where the news is. Instead of trying to follow Sekou Kalasu personal page to see what is happening at the UN General Assembly, or to follow an assistant minister personal page to see what's happening, it ought to be on the official page of the executive mansion because they do have a Facebook page. So I think that is one thing they're missing out on. The other thing is when you talk about, this is now when all of these political actors are supposed to be forming their shadow government. All right. So when it comes to education, we say, okay, we're talking education, where education policy is on what just happened. maybe there's an event that happened in Monrovia, and where do you stand on there or in Liberia? And if you can't get your own Congo, you know who to get because they have told you who they are leaning on when it comes to education. And the same thing with health. But as it stands right now, and I'm going to be truthful, I, as an ardent supporter of Tier 1 Congo, can only tell you what Tier 1 has written in maybe 5 sentences about what education is going to look like. There is nothing granular. There's nothing down. So whatever I say is me projecting what I think Tier 1 is going to do. And so you find a lot of us only project what we think our candidates are going to do when they win.
So
And
how?
so
I don't mean to interrupt. When you do that, say, how dangerous is it?
That is the danger, right? That is the danger. So because now we come back to, you see a lot of people on Facebook having buyer's remorse and say, oh, well, we sold George Weah to the country. This is not what we expected. Well, because George Weah didn't tell you what he was going to do. You projected onto him what you thought he was going to do. And that is a danger. And I think it is about time that every serious-minded politician who has declared, and my candidate, our big thing had been before the Liberian People's Party convention that he could not speak clearly because there was a party issue and had to go. Now that he has won the candidacy of the Liberian People's Party, I think my guy, and I know he would do that because everything he's doing, his life tells me that he would do that. Now they have to start telling people who are the policy advisors so that we know that we can go and look at what is your economic plan, who's your policy advisor, what have they written, what do they think? And we don't have to get Tier 1 Gonglo to appear on this site, on this page, because we know he'll be busy. But we can bring his policy advisor on economic development. We can bring his policy advisor on healthcare delivery. We can bring his policy advisor on education and on security. We can do that. And we will believe that whatever people say
I feel like you people have some, I feel like you people must have some Liberty Party USA insider with you guys. Because that seems like you take it right out of the playbook of Liberty Party USA.
But that's how any serious-minded political politician is supposed to behave. Mr. So asked for this one time about who are going to be in your government. In essence, he's asking what is shadow government. The one thing that the CDC failed to do was to create a shadow government. And so you saw that when they won the elections, it was very difficult for them to start finding who to put where because you did not have a shadow government. You need to have that so that on day one, you know whose name you're sending in places so you have at minimum the key places already taken care of because these are people you have vetted, these are people that you have shown, you have teased to the Liberian population that this is my education guy, this is my health guy, this is my security guy. So people know. So that we be expecting those people. But as it is right now, the official spokesperson of every political party de facto to the Secretary General or the Assistant Secretary General. And I don't think that's what it should be.
Okay, so let me bring in Jonathan.
Yes.
You saw the Liberal eating crow live, and he just didn't want to confess it. But I think what Sese did to him here this evening, he was politically strangulated and surrendered because he have no idea what his man, who is the speaker, either George Lobo or multiple people. I'm not, if I were to vote for him, I'm not going to vote for him because of George Lobo idea. I want to hear things from you. Let's hear from your side. Is it being done in a different context? Is it organized there? You listen to the Liberal. No answer. Since it was bold. Do you think, first of all, do you agree with my point? Because, and this is what we are saying. I don't like surprise. We ought to get some good surprises, gift, this and that. But when it comes to leadership, it comes to the country, I don't want to come here tomorrow. If I knew what I know, then it's an obituary. One could easily make a guess when Joe Biden was who saw Jen Psaki was in the front of the campaign as the campaign press secretary. So one could easily guess that she was a possible choice as the press secretary to if Joe Biden is to be elected going to be the presidential press secretary because of the information that they were producing. They were all coming from the, I mean, it was kind of centralized. It comes from different corners, but it's curved in one direction. We don't see it in our people. The sister made a point. I don't want to start having another hold on people. Hold on. Let it stay on because you didn't adequately prepare yourself. There are certain positions in government. If you are elected on day one, those people, you should get them to running and going. You don't have your justice minister, the man who's supposed to manage the security of your whole stuff. You don't have your minister of finance. You don't have somebody who will be the official spokesperson, the minister of information. You don't have them. You can't tell me hold on, stay on. Are we going to have another stay on when Cummings is elected as well?
I don't think so. As a matter of fact,
can it be a real solver than that? I mean, this is too hard. I mean, can you throw a little bit softer than that, Mr. Soul?
Can I do what?
Can you throw a little bit real soft ball to Jade than when you go through here?
The question soft? Is that what you're saying?
Well, I'm just saying, is there any softer question coming from you to Jay this evening? Go ahead, Jay. Answer.
I am the one that select my questions. My question
all right.
is you don't have the, unfortunately, it's not in your control.
There we go.
And I agree with you when you say opposition, it means government in waiting. So there should be principles and different way of doing things or unique way of doing things to demonstrate that indeed you are an opposition ready for the day one of the governance of the country. And so there are two arms. You have the political arm, which is basically party going to convention and electing her secretary general, and that secretary general has the responsibility of communicating the platform, the ideology, and the party position to the public, and if possible, defending the image of the party. And in that aspect, Mr. Aloysius Stoll played that role on behalf of the Alternative National Congress and served as a principal deputy in that role. So that the political aspect did. When it comes to the communication arm, we should represent like the press secretary of the president. You also have to have people in motion who should demonstrate that indeed you have the Ministry of Information, which will be the party secretary, but you also need to have the communication arm that will be the press secretary of the president. I mean, I'm just likening it to it. And so you have Mr. James Kezlu, who is a former press union president of Liberia, who plays that role for Mr. Cummings. As a matter of fact, he appears on some of the radio stations in Liberia, communicating Mr. Cummings' view. I just checked his Facebook page 13 hours ago. He has on the Facebook page what Mr. Cummings' statement in Marshall, the statement he made in Marshall concerning some of what Liberia needs to do, both as ruling establishment and opposition and Liberians at large. But it is quite a unique thing that we have these individuals, into the public spectrum, cross-cutting the issues that we are confronted with. Very interestingly too, we are in a digital war, like Sese and Mr. Toh said. And so at different length, the speed at which we are moving with the media is not as compared to, the analog era, where in most instances you wait for directive. What is happening now is that Dolake is here as an opportunity given by the platform to utilize it to communicate what the vision of the party and the CPP is, someone will be at another forum, and sometimes it happens in a daytime, 4-5 different time, and you don't want to be you don't want to be absent yourself from such evolving situation. But how be it, it is responsible if we are not grapple with that trend to try to do as much as possible, because it re-energizes the political institution and the candidates and give better taste to our political process. So I will
So
I
let
will,
me
I
ask
will.
you.
So of course, I mean there are different people. Say there are different people. People are passionate. People are zealous. People communicate at different levels. Some will approbation. Some will approbation, and what have you. But when the communication thing is set, like moving forward with the CPP, and again, I would like to say sorry to this platform that Victoria and I made away. I think they are trying to set into motion how ANC proceed. I mean, the CPP, not just ANC now. The CPP proceed. You will reach a point very soon that what Dolaka will be saying will never have a thin line between what Mr. Cummings will be saying or what somebody, the county chairman, Jevon Son of Granjire County, will be saying in Granjire. So we're reaching that point on very speedily too, with huge consultation. Even the ANC Global, you're going to have a CPP Global that are going to oversee the CPP affairs of Liberty Party and ANC members, put it under one umbrella. So you're going to have a different level of interaction. People are going to be handnecks because we are moving towards election. We're going to have 4 or 5 different tunes, and then time to defend Eddie come and say, no, that person not representing our interests. The other person representing our interests. No, it got to be coordinated.
Let me ask you here.
So will the Liberal be joining the CPP Global, saying he's Liberty Party USA, and that will be part of the Global?
No, I've definitely told Mr. Benedict that I need to get in consultation with the Labour. The Labour is very good. I mean, the Labour has a point, and I understand his point. But I want him to work with the CPP team, and we really admire his thought, his critique at the same time. But Mr. So
Yeah, I think let's get a reaction from the Liberal, because this is amazing to see this sort of coalition that is trying to be here for the Liberal to be the Liberal. We're not hearing you.
Yeah. All I can say, we on top, they come second as our little brothers, and then we go fine. We'll be fine. We'll be fine. I mean, we just this is the culture
You
thing
stay
here.
on top on our business.
Mr. So this is culture. When you get in a place and you have an older person, you respect that person and bow for the sign of respect. Whenever you go anywhere and there's only one seat in the house, and the older person walk in, you get up and the older person sit down. Mr. So there's no two-way street around it. There's no two-way street about this. Dr. Bakai has had he's much more experienced in line of specifically Liberian government, and everybody, oh, you've been working for this summer. That's experience. When you go look for a job, what do they say? Have you worked this? Have you done this before? Have you done that before? That's experience. The people want people who have experience. This is what we're lacking right now, and we're swimming. Yeah. And this is what I'm saying that Dr. Bakker are going to come and try to stabilize it. So yes, I don't mind work. I don't mind coming in with CPP. That's why it's been my cry. It's been my cry for these people to work together. But what I want said the ANC legislative analysts to do for us is to see if I'm waiting, not tonight. I'm waiting. He just lay out some good stuff here that I'm enjoying. When he said there will come a time there will be no daylight. And so when he comes out here and it comes out, that's coming right there. I'm not going two-way street. I'm not going to say if or no. He just told us tonight that very shortly there will come a time there will be little daylight, if at all. And so when that time comes, I will ask him to do what he can as coming representative. Not now, because he's not coming representative yet. But I will ask him to see so that they will bring people together. If not, if not, Dr. Weir is going to go for another 6 years. There's no two-way street about it. You cannot, and I'm saying that on a very serious note, you cannot pray for somebody to vote against than it is to work for somebody to vote for you. And I think with the split in the opposition, that's exactly what it's looking for. That's exactly what they're looking for. If these people are unable to come together, if these people are unable to come together and work as one, then and hoping that maybe if we go, I might go second, and if I come second, this other party, they have no other choice but they'll come in my way because maybe they will vote against it. That kind of supposition is not going to work. Doctor, we are going to take another 6 years, and if he takes another 6 years, forget about plane. I mean, what do you mean? A plane pie going down now. You won't even have kite to fly in Liberia. No kite going to fly in Liberia because there will be no place for you to fly your kite. And so we have to come together to redeem the country. The country has to be redeemed. If not, we got serious problem. And don't blame me if I sit here and every time the president does something good, I will speak about it and I will praise him. Okay. Because I'm not in it for hatred or anything like that. All right, guys. I'm going to come here and say something if the president is doing something good, but because I don't want him to be re-elected, no, that's not what I do. And this is what I'm saying: we should work together so that people will vote for us and not against CDC.
Okay, let's take the quick break. When we come back, we'll be finishing for the event. There's just a breaker. The history to stabilize. What kind of
you want to go to break with that and leaving that in the mind of the you're gonna leave that in the mind of the audience, Mr. So you're gonna throw that kind of question in the mind of the audience and go to break, and so that by the time you come back, the audience are already soaking in, and then you're gonna leave that what subliminal message here tonight. It's not easy.
The experience comes with the recommendation or the reference. In you have reference on your letter.
I tell you, say we're going to break, Mr. So. I tell you, say we're going to break. Yeah, we go.
Okay, all right, folks. This is coming soon on the Liberia Public Radio, and we are looking for a sponsorship. In the coming days, week, LPR will be live on Sky FM in a prime time. That will be coming on. It will be on Sunday. And we're going to be bringing in scholars, we're going to be bringing in politicians, scientists, authors, and people of different healthcare professionals, people of different backgrounds. This is going to be live on Sky FM and TV in Liberia. And I will be your host, your anchor. We are doing a lot of background conversation. What we can say though, today is reaching out, we just need to know the start date. So join us on Liberia Public Radio, and you want to be a sponsor to this program, you want to advertise, let us know as well. I am Alfonso Zenso, the team of best analysts and contributors of the Liberia Public Radio are going to be right here to have this great conversation as usual. So folks, yes, bear with us, and we're going to, it's coming soon. All right. Okay. So let's see here, and before we go, these people that are contesting, Mr. Doloke, let me ask you, your guy, is he a strong leader, weak? What kind of leadership will he be? I'm asking this to say, I see here there are a lot of things happening in the past. Maybe they are fixing it now in other parties, that they allow, or the group or the party as a whole allow him to be defined. And that's something that you don't want people to define you. You got to be ahead of the game. There were things that were overlooked. People throw that sort of rare meat at him, and he was still in the diplomatic enclave I try to figure out, or there is no robust team to respond. So here we are now. It seems to be like it has turned to an alligator. Every now and then to hear this is coming is along with this, coming is along with it. Is it because that he allowed his opponent to define and they were kind of slow in responding to some of these issues? Is that a weak side of his, if he's to be elected, would that be the weak side of him? Or are you guys working on it?
One, it is something that we're working on, and we have to understand that that has been the DNA of our politics over 175 years. We should now evaluate as to whether it has gotten anywhere. I mean, propaganda without any basis. I mean, antagonistic politicking that does not see in it what in it for all Liberians, just politically intended to bedevil one group of people, malign one group of person, or someone who is seemed to be against your candidate. It used to be those days with allegation of subversion, by the ruling establishment, that your government want to honor man, charge you for sedition. Thank you for the Table Mountain Declaration. Thanks for the Kamara Act that have created freedom today. And it used to be about, the likes of Detour, how he went against Todman and how he went to Sierra Leone. But we have to understand that we are in modern times, and we have to deal with the issue according to the facts on the book, because it lives longer than anything than dealing with those unfounded lies and misgivings that are only intended to live a short lifespan, and thereafter they will be defaced with given truth. So it is pathetic, I know, that we'll be introducing these kind of phenomena in our politics at this time, holding Mr. Cummings responsible for lobbying against the government and people of Liberia. And I always say this: if you are doing well, it will not be possible for anybody to lobby against the good things that you are doing. So you will not be contented with people who go with gossip.
So let me ask you. I think there's some sort of clause attached here. Is he lobbying? And what specifically is he lobbying? From what I hear, maybe I'm getting it wrong here. I want you to kind of like go over it. If you are doing well, there will be no reason for people to lobby it. On the other side, the RNS side of it, is he lobbying, and what is he lobbying against?
And I'm just speaking about the blanket, allegation that, and coming from the ruling establishment specifically, that Mr. Cummings is against the interests. He doesn't want to see George Weah be president. He's undermining the efforts. And, you listen to Senator Johnson leveling allegation. You make Mr. Cummings or giant even more than the United States of America. It is unscientific. It is elementary. It is just unthinkable that you look at the whole U.S. government that existed for 100+ years, that have built a democracy to what it is now. They know how to communicate. Their emissary are all in different countries. They got embassies. They are following global trends. And you see, just an individual for Coca-Cola, one of the many companies, billions of dollars worth of company in America, person is influencing the entire U.S. government. It demonstrates clearly that we are lacking wisdom. We are not smart enough, because after 100+ years, as I said, we are only been surviving on blackmailing people and trying to maintain our power and either lying on their names. So we used to that kind of politicking. We are not used to speaking to the facts that can be pointed to. So with Alex Cummings being in the picture, and he will come on and say, Mr. President, if you are serious, two things you must do. Either of them. If you are serious man, either fire those people who you have the will to appoint, or you will suggest that you don't know the job for which you are already been elected by the people of Liberia. And then you take that as something negative. Those are some of the issues.
We have short time here, but we got to talk about this here. you brought Senator Johnson out. There are a lot of things he revealed on the sister network spawned comments, financial handout to Senator Prince Johnson. I'm wondering here whether there are two definitions Mr. Cummings, I see Johnson to be, because the money that he called, how can he? I don't know how can he explain that. Is he strictly humanitarian, or somebody that with those sort of a character? Is he meaning he's good on one side and bad on the other side? To the extent that, asking to Jeremiah Kuhn to be his vice president, needed support and all of that. If we look at a record and he's saying you cannot do the same thing over and over and over the old way and you expect to get a new result. It seems to be a sort of a contradiction. What was he actually seeking? And I know you're not Mr. Cummings, but I hope I have that opportunity. We can go much deeper and maybe modify those questions if I have the opportunity to host him. But what actually was he seeking from Prince Johnson? Because Prince Johnson going to cut a deal. I mean, with specific requests, even if he was to do that, but he also lay a hook claiming who he thinks he Ellis Cummings is.
Firstly, we have to understand the character of Prince Johnson, and we have to follow the trend of that conversation and the historical trend of Ellis Cummings. Mr. Cummings has publicly said that he stands with World Economic Crime Code. It's a contour or counterclockwise to Mr. Senator Prince Johnson own stand on issue of war economic crime. So they are at divergent level. That's one. Two, Senator Johnson said that Mr. Cummings made a public statement and he confessed to reality that he is a same-sex person at a national forum, that I was present, that I was one of the architects with Mr. Cummings, strictly for his home in the hall and finished the program, and such statement was never made. And so when an individual blanket, barefaced lie and standing up to it, they gave reason for her to question most of what he said. As to whether Mr. Cummings gave him money, that's a question that Mr. Cummings will answer. But I would think that for the fact that I was at the national debate and there was no question, nothing of whatsoever raised, demonstrate clearly that Senator Johnson is surviving. He's sleeping. The era of the 2005 and 2014 is no longer what it is today. Libyans are paying him sufficiently. He's losing grip of the country, and he's been used by the ruling establishment to throw things at Mr. Cummings based on the communication back and forth, and then Louis Brown coming to CPP, and then Gabriel McIntosh coming from the CDC to the CPP. They are using now their own political door to wage war at Mr. Cummings so that they shift the argument.
All right, we are running out of time here. Let me get the in here. Liberal, I'm not sure whether Mr. Dolake answered my question. I've seen some sort of salad dressing taking place here before I go home, which I'm not a salad favorite here. But how can Ellis Cummings, explain what sort of relationship, what sort of support actually he was seeking with Senator Johnson? I'm not sure whether they agree on a lot of things, but his involvement, his history, Johnson is not going to be like somebody who will say, I want to support the war crime code. So, how can he explain that? Doing the same thing over and over, sound redundant that he has and hanging out with Prince Johnson. I know you're politicians, but how can he explain that?
I don't know how he's going to explain it, but this is what I'm going to say. We've long been hearing that Prince Johnson is sick in the mind. And even when he was in Nigeria, that news came here that we heard about it, that he was ill. In fact, I believe there was another rumor where people held him responsible for the death of his daughter. And I'm not too sure how true those statements are, but they're out there. It's the same Prince Johnson, few years back, or a few years back, saying that Josh, we are going to rig the election to stay in power. It's the same Prince Johnson who believe that the Judge Weah and the people are going to cheat. So now to come back and say what he's saying, I don't put stock in Prince Johnson. Prince Johnson, for me, he's just another person who he's not even a person as far as I'm concerned. So for me to sit down here to dignify what he come out with against Comey, I think is doing Comey no favor whatsoever. Comey in conversation, if Prince Johnson feel that he has anything against Comey, let him go somewhere and take it and meet somewhere and talk to Comey. But to come out and say X, Y, and Z, can anybody in their right mind trust what Prince Johnson would say? I don't believe that.
Well, I'm not going to put my finger in anybody's esophagus to forcibly answer the question, but let me ask Goya. Goya, he was specific. He was concrete to his argument, the money that was given to him, how he went to him, how they went to Jeremiah Kuhn. Jeremiah Kuhn came back to him because he is a political godfather. There must be an explanation. He was very crystal clear. 50,000, 50,000, 5,000 this time, I think. I mean, that's what I'm talking. The liberal is moving on a slopey ground as well. Try to be politically correct here. I'm not sure whether this question makes sense, but people will also on the other side will want to ask, what does he represent? What is he looking for? Or is it as usual the politics, but then in real world saying different things?
Well, in our political dispensation, disinformation is currency. It can be traded for votes. It can be traded to damage people. And I think we can say everything we want to say about Prince Johnson. I'm not somebody who believes Prince Johnson should be a national actor, should be a stakeholder in Liberian politics. But my beliefs aside, the reality is he is. He is a stakeholder and he is a political actor. And so I think the mistake that the ANC made, and Q or not, the conspiracy theorists that fed our former president, and that kind of led to the insurrection at the Capitol here on January 6th. Kind of on a smaller scale affected Cummings when people came up with that assertion that he was gay. He chose to rise above it, and which is what we all as intellectuals would have expected, to rise above it. If we were dealing with a political climate that is based on a vast majority of our participants being educated, to be able to see between the lines and look for proofs and look for sources like we've been doing about the last video. Sadly, though, I think the ANC and Mr. Cummings overestimated the ability of our people, our political participants, the voters, to be able to see clearly between them and figure out that the man's sexuality has nothing to do with how he provides jobs and how he fixes the educational system, or how he fixes the healthcare delivery system. And so this thing that Prince Johnson said, if you hear it, besides the money piece, he went back to that gay. This is a pastor. He uses pulpit to even say that. Besides Spoke TV. And so I think what I'm waiting for is I'm waiting for James Kelsley. I'm waiting for Mr. Toole of the ANC and the Press Secretary, Mr. Cummings, to actually push back. They cannot allow a narrative like this to just sit. Because sadly, in Liberian politics, rumors are fast to why you still find people, even after the guy who purportedly created this gay idea about Cummings have come out to say it's false. That thing still has a life. It is still a currency that's being traded. So I'm saying this because I'm one of those people, even though I believe Teron Gomez is the best choice, I would not lose sleep if Cummings were to win the presidency. So I'm saying this in good faith that I hope my brother Tolake and the ANC would not see this as a statement coming from a Chris Johnson does act. He is a political actor in Liberia. He ought to be taken seriously, and he ought to be debunked. And if there was money given to him for charity or for whatever thing, because Mr. Cummings has been known to give money for charitable causes, then the ANC needs to come out and debunk Mr. Senator Johnson and make that point and make their facts emphatic. They cannot let this just lay low and say that crazy man talking. They will come back to bite them bad. They will bite.
Yeah, and we are about to go, and this is the problem that we have. People are, and everybody knows that the media now, get a good and bad side. You can be destroyed in the twinkle of an eye just of one or two sentences. You just say, oh, it's nothing. It's true. But anyway, guys, I want to thank you so much. Time has caught up with us here, so we're going to use 1 minute each. To see our take home, and that 1 minute, maybe we can take 20 seconds. What is our own anticipation after the president's visit here back home or whatever? Let me start with the most liberal. You want to go first, or you want to get a far left right views and then you wrap it up?
No, I'll go first. I'm still listening. And if somebody says something that is way out of line, I will come back and say no. But on a very serious note,
Ometu will be hard to manage when Baka win. We have problem.
Baka, they don't even know me. They don't even know who I am.
But how are you talking for people that don't even know you?
Well, you don't have to know me for me to know that you're good. So, but anyway, tomorrow I'm once again going to go on Ralphie Highway issue. I'm going to be broadcasting. I just got some more video again this evening, so I'm going to be playing those videos. It's a very serious business. All of these people that are here in the United States from Liberia, along with the president, they drove on that road, and for them to sit here and let that road be like the way the construction is going is unacceptable, and I'm going to go into that. I will also say though, we also going to show you there's a map where you can do street view of Monrovia, certain portion of Monrovia, and I will be doing a lot of street view on that map where you see it. It was a good thing it was done on Sunday because you can see people coming from Julia Howard Taylor Church over there of how they call it, Thomas Boulevard. So we'll be on there.
Okay, thank you so much. Guys, quickly here, Dorake, what's your final message?
Thank you for the opportunity. I'd just like to say that the statement made by Senator Johnson will be fully addressed by the CPP. It will be a full package. It will spark another further debate, like the president communication. We are in these things fully prepared, well organized, and ready to take on Senator Johnson. I think it will further expose him further. He should get ready, for the fight that he has ensued. And then very quickly, I will think that President we have returned to Liberia after consultation with different stakeholders. He will be prepared, like one of my brothers said on one of the show, to redeem himself, not necessarily to get re-elected, but to redeem his own image by taking decisive steps against corrupt officials and changing the hands of time by being practical and pragmatic. At least that he will go down in history that during his end of the tenure, he took some very decisive steps to manage the affairs of our country. So I think that will be the best thing that he will be doing.
Okay, let's bring in Sissy. Sissy, there are lots running through your head. We heard the liberal, we heard decisive decisions, and they're going to be taking on Prince Johnson. There is a danger side taking on Prince Johnson. You don't want to go home. You don't want to go to his tail. You better go to his head, because when you go to his tail, when he turns back, that's going to be a political disaster. Let's hear from you. What's your final word?
So I actually I'm gonna buy a bottle of Hennessy to watch that fight between the ANC or the CPP and Prince Johnson, and then I'll be playing there on one side of my screen, and then doing the picture in picture with the president, the UN General Assembly speech. I think popcorn, Hennessy, and it's going to be good for me. Um, but on a serious note, it is so exciting. It is so refreshing to be on the platform with. I'm listening to the Libra here. We all, play around, but this is a brilliant mind. I actually watched his presentation as an engineer. I was mesmerized by his presentation, and we are here talking with you, of course, Mr. So, a veteran of news and a veteran of Liberian government, and my own brother Jonathan, who has managed to serve in our Capitol building, and he knows how legislature works, and he's a very intelligent guy. So for me, I come here, I feel out of my space. I feel like I'm punching above my weight level, and that is why I really try to be here every time, because it's always amazing to be with really smart people. And I think it is going to be upon our shoulders as LPR to elevate the conversation when it comes to election and hold people accountable. Even if I'm ever a spokesperson for a politician and come here, don't allow me to just talk nonsense and walk away. I expect you to hold my feet to the fire, because our people need to know what they are voting for. And so the issue with the street view, I just want to put out here, and again, people will say, why you do that? But the Coca-Cola, in 2015, 2016, my wife used to work for them. They actually started doing the GPRS mapping in Liberia. They were actually putting on the GPRS on the GPS locations of their various outlets and people that were selling for them, because my wife used to put it in, and those boys on the bike would go, and they know where to go. The map would take them there. So Coca-Cola, Cummings at the time he was vice president of Coca-Cola, they've been doing their work, and they lay their piece out for their technology. So for whatever good it is for the country or for Cummings, I really don't care, but I just want to put that out there. And so I will be watching the UNG. But one thing that caught my mind though today that I want to bring out here is, did any one of you watch the interview today of us in Solomon Joa of the Sotema school that was carried out by Liberia? Was it news? Focus on Liberia.
Focus on Liberia.
It was disheartening. If you haven't seen it, go and see it. To see a vice principal sit and have a conversation to talk about girls who are in school and they get pregnant should not be allowed to continue their education, and to talk about why is it that parents are getting involved in education, and he said parents are just mere actors. Like he didn't consider them as being key to stakeholders when it comes to the education of their children. That is sad. And those are people that are charging a lot of money, and we take them to be serious educators in Liberia. They make those statements. That tells you the plight and the level of decadence that is in our Liberian education system that needs serious overhauling from public to private. It made me sad today. I watched that, and I made some comments on their site, and I had to say that out here, that as an educator, that was despicable.
Okay, now these are justifiable reason that we need to have these people who could potentially, these strategic places who want to manage the affairs. Gentlemen, I want to thank you for the ultimate sacrifice coming here every day, every event, every night, 2 hours, 30 minutes. We disagree and agree, but the civility, the context of our conversation, the civility and the respect for one another here. That's what we're going to be doing. And this is going to be edified, because now our voices will be echoed through the nation's capital, where major political decisions are going to be made in the coming days. We promote everything going to be coming out. We just need to have a set date now that we're going to be live on Sky FM and TV in Liberia to direct communication with those who are going to be involved in the electoral process and stakeholders. I want to thank you so much for your time. And of course, our valuable listeners, viewers, followers, your commitment. It is you that keeping us to get us to be who we are. We don't know it all. Please share your information with us. And usually, all of the analysts, contributors, will go back and see where we fall short and make some adjustments. So also send in your suggestion. Engage in the conversations online. The civility conducted by the onliners is amazing. We want to thank you so much. But don't forget, this book is still on the newsstand, Liberty Hijack. It tells you about the in-depth of your country. Know your country. Know the history of your country. It's available. It's a bestseller. And I'll be having an author here at some point in time. It's available Amazon. If you are within the New England belt, just contact me. $15 is hand delivery. If you want to get it from Amazon, you can order it and it comes directly to you. But I can tell you it is loaded with information that you need to know. Gentlemen, thank you so much. The Liberal Progressive, as usual, you call your word bamboozle me, telling me, say, I go. Do I know somebody to go your way? Never, never. Guys, thank you so much and have a pleasant evening.
Good night.
All right, folks, that does it. I'm Alfonso Z and so of the Liberia Public Radio and Lpr-Tv, and coming soon, right over the heartbeat of the nation's capital, the world today. Liberian World Today is coming soon on the Liberia Public Radio. Let's take you to the southeastern side as we wrap up this event. Thank you so much for your time.
The